Hey, I just thought I'd make this as I found something quite astonishing here today, and I wanted to kind of share it with anybody who owns these same items so that hopefully they can prevent this from happening to them as well. Basically, I own two of these Kawasaki branded Kawasaki Quick Release, or KQR for short, saddlebags. These bags, the pair of them is about over $1,000. The bags themselves were $950, and I believe these color matching panels and stripe are $150 each, for each saddlebag. And basically, I had these items broken into. I arrived home the other day and noticed that this lock, which is normally vertical, was actually positioned like this. There was no key in either one, and both of them were like this, and that set off alarms before I even got closer to the bike. So lo and behold, I walked over and I could pop open this handle, and there was no key in there, which means that someone had opened them up. Basically what I've done here is I've already pulled the other one apart and reassembled it. And coming across this one, I noticed something that I should have noticed in the other one. What we've got here is the lock and tumblers. These ones are all positioned for my key, so that when I put the key in, these all sit at the same level and will allow the piece to rotate. I don't know lock-picking terminology, don't get mad at me. Over here is the shaft that the actual lock goes into. You'll notice that there's two cutouts there where the tumblers would locate. So basically, this is in here. If the tumblers are unlocked, it will rotate this entire outer shaft and not allow the lock to open because you can't unless the tumblers are open, or sorry, the tumblers are closed, and that'll allow it to spin inside the shaft. So, when looking through the lock while it was still on the bike, I was confused as to how someone jammed a screwdriver in there, popped open all of those, and managed to turn the item. I inspected the other one, repaired the lock, and put it back in, and I did not notice this until right now. When I open this up, this is the way the shaft sits in the bike. You'll see that there's a cutout there, and there's a notch there. When I opened it up, it was like this. I was a bit confused as to why this was in here, this little notch, if this was missing. There was nothing to secure it. I then realized that there is nothing securing it at all besides that plastic piece, which is approximately, I want to say, 3 or 4 millimeters. So there's this thing positioned in here like this, and if someone were to jam a screwdriver into the top side lock, which they have, as you can see by the dents on both sides, they jammed it in there, and they twisted as hard as they could, which probably wasn't very hard, and all they had to do was break off half of this little plastic piece here. Now you'd think, okay, well, this lock is now unsecured, it now doesn't work, but there's a flat piece, which is a redundancy to actually catch it. You'll notice there that there's a scratch on the plastic right there. Not even that deep, where they just gouged through and were able to rotate this entire shaft, thus turning the mechanism, unlocking everything, and popping open my bag and stealing my items. So just to remind everybody that has spent over $1,000 on Kawasaki Quick Release bags, these are on my 2015 Versus, and I assume they're on multiple more, the only thing securing your items is not the lock, is not the key code, is nothing but this tiny little tab of plastic right there. Only half of the tab is sheared off because that's what breaks, and that's what allows the entire assembly, and thus the piece on top, and thus the entire mechanism to open and turn and give thieves access to your stuff. I will now be opening both of these and super gluing these down so that hopefully it doesn't happen again quite as easily. I'm still blown away that Kawasaki thinks that this is an acceptable amount of security and decides not to tell anybody that that's the only thing that's stopping someone, or even creating a redundancy for if someone is able to turn that, that maybe something disconnects. But nope, it allows it to function like a lock and open up all of your items, all with just a screwdriver and a bit of patience and probably a little bit of strength. So yeah, I would suggest taking your bags apart. Like I said, it's 4 screws that you can get to underneath. It's 2 screws in the top. There's 3 screws in the back, and there's double-sided tape, so just yank with all your might. You'll have it off, and you'll be able to access this thing and actually secure your bags maybe. So yeah, thanks for listening, and hopefully this helps someone out.